Have you ever wondered why the two Asian giants, India and China, despite being so close geographically, remain miles apart politically and economically? It's a question that has puzzled many, and the answer is far from straightforward. Let's take a closer look at this fascinating conundrum. India and China, two nations that share a vast border and a rich history, are like twins separated at birth. On one side you have India, the world's largest democracy, and on the other, China, the world's most populous communist state. Despite their geographical proximity, their political ideologies couldn't be more different. Their relationship is a complex tapestry woven with threads of historical tensions and economic competition. Both nations have a long history of disagreements, with roots that extend deep into their shared past. From territorial disputes to trade imbalances, their conflicts span a wide spectrum, making their relationship one of the most intricate in the international arena. One of the most debated topics in recent times is the idea of a common BRICS currency, an alternative to the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. However, given the complex dynamics between India and China, this idea seems to be more of a theoretical possibility than a practical reality. The tension between these two nations isn't just about borders or trade. It's about power, influence, and a struggle for regional dominance. This ongoing rivalry has not only shaped their bilateral relations but also influenced their foreign policies and international engagements. But what is the root cause of this dispute? What led these neighboring nations, with shared cultural exchanges and ancient trade routes, down such divergent paths? The answers to these questions lie in the annals of history, in the decisions made by their leaders, and in the aspirations of their people. The India-China dispute isn't a simple disagreement. It's a deeply rooted conflict with layers of historical, political, and economic complexities. To understand the present, we must venture into the past. The India-China dispute is no exception. In the heart of the Himalayas in 1962, the world watched as India and China faced off in a bitter war. A conflict sparked by territorial disagreements and political ideologies. It was a confrontation that would leave an indelible mark on their relationship. The war was short-lived but intense. Its impact was far-reaching, and it set the stage for a series of border disputes that continue to this day. Two regions are particularly notable in this ongoing saga: Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh. Both countries lay claim to these areas, and both have been unwilling to back down. Aksai Chin, a desolate plateau located in the far north, is claimed by India but controlled by China. Its strategic importance lies in its location, providing China with a direct route between two of its restive regions, Xinjiang and Tibet. On the eastern end of the Himalayas, the lush green region of Arunachal Pradesh is another bone of contention. Recognized as a part of India by most of the international community, China, however, regards it as South Tibet. The role of Tibet in the India-China dispute is significant. The Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, sought refuge in India following a failed uprising against Chinese rule in Tibet in the late 1950s. His presence in India is a constant reminder of the ideological differences between the two nations. These historical events have shaped the India-China relationship into what it is today: a complex tapestry of territorial claims, political ideologies, and economic competition. They have shaped a narrative of mistrust and misunderstanding that has been passed down through the generations. The echoes of these historical events continue to reverberate in the present-day India-China relationship. Fast forward to the 21st century, the India-China dispute has evolved, but has it resolved? In this era of globalization, the India-China dispute has taken on new dimensions. It's no longer just about territorial claims or border skirmishes. Now it's also about economic might, diplomatic maneuvering, and the struggle for regional dominance. Recent years have seen a series of border clashes, with both nations accusing each other of overstepping the line of actual control, a de facto border in the high Himalayas. These incidents, while sporadic, have strained relations and prompted both sides to reinforce their borders. Trade, too, has become a battleground. India has been grappling with a massive trade deficit with China, a result of Beijing's economic prowess and India's burgeoning consumer market. This, coupled with concerns over Chinese investments in strategic sectors, has led to calls for reducing economic dependence on China. However, it's not just about economic wrangling. The two countries have contrasting approaches to international relations. While China has been assertive, even aggressive in its foreign policy, India has largely remained non-aligned, preferring to build partnerships based on shared interests. And then there's the currency debate. With the US dollar reigning supreme as the world's reserve currency, some have mooted the idea of a common BRICS currency, a concept that could potentially challenge the dollar's dominance. Yet the complex dynamics between India and China, marked by historical tensions and economic competition, make this proposition a daunting challenge. It's not just about aligning their economies. It's about reconciling their political differences, their contrasting worldviews, and their shared yet distinct aspirations. It would require a level of cooperation and trust that, given the current state of affairs, seems distant. So while the nature of the India-China dispute has evolved, the core issues remain unresolved. It's a multifaceted conflict, with each facet reflecting a different aspect of the broader India-China relationship. The present-day India-China dispute is a complex tapestry woven with strands of past conflicts and present contentions. The India-China dispute isn't confined to the borders. It has far-reaching impacts, seen and unseen. This rivalry, this tug-of-war, isn't just about two nations. It's a tale of two economies, two societies, and two ways of life, and it's having profound effects on the region and the world. The economic implications are immense. Remember, these are two of the world's largest economies we're talking about. Their strained relationship has led to trade disruptions, and the ripple effects can be felt across the global supply chains. There's also the question of the world's reserve currency. There's been a lot of chatter about an alternative to the US dollar, maybe even a common BRICS currency. But the India-China tension makes this an uphill battle. Then there's the security aspect. The dispute has heightened tension in an already volatile region. It's a bit like a chess game, albeit a very risky one, where the two nations are constantly trying to outmaneuver each other. And it's not just about them. Other countries, particularly the US, are also involved, each trying to tilt the balance in their favor. But perhaps the most significant impact is on the people of India and China. The dispute isn't just a line on a map. It's a reality that affects their lives in countless ways. It's about their sense of national identity, their economic prospects, their hopes and dreams. Millions of lives are intertwined with this dispute, and they bear the brunt of the decisions made in the halls of power. As we ponder the impacts, let's not forget that at the heart of this dispute are two ancient civilizations with a shared history that goes back thousands of years. They've witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the ebb and flow of prosperity. They've survived, thrived, and endured. The India-China dispute isn't just a political issue. It's a human issue affecting millions of lives. And as we move forward, it's these lives that we must keep in mind, because it's these lives that will ultimately shape the future of the region, and indeed, the world. Where do we go from here? What does the future hold for the India-China relationship? A question that's been asked countless times, yet remains unanswered. Looking ahead, one can see a number of possible scenarios. On one hand, there are efforts being made to de-escalate tensions. Diplomatic dialogues are being held, confidence-building measures are being talked about, and both nations seem to be making concerted efforts to step back from the brink. But the road to peace is often bumpy and fraught with challenges. The historical tensions and economic competition that mark the India-China relationship cannot be wished away overnight. These factors continue to pose significant barriers to the path of cooperation. Then there's the question of a common currency. The idea of a shared BRICS currency as an alternative to the US dollar has been floating around. But the realization of this idea is hindered by the need for alignment among the diverse BRICS countries, particularly India and China. The complexity of their relationship makes the adoption of a common currency a distant dream at best. Yet despite these challenges, The potential for cooperation between the two Asian giants cannot be ignored. Both nations share common interests in areas such as trade, climate change, and regional security. If they can find a way to work together, not only could they bring prosperity to their own nations, but they could also play a significant role in shaping the global order. However, the path to cooperation is not easy. It will require political will, diplomatic finesse, and above all, a mutual desire for peace and prosperity. The future of the India-China relationship remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The resolution of their dispute is crucial not just for them, but for the entire world. Do like, share, and subscribe.